Hey puppy. Oh no. You get a buff head. Oh no. Frig's head's got all buffy. Mr. Frig. Oh, that's a look of no good. Look. Mr. Frig. See his head's all puffy? Frig. Oh, very mental. They, the girls, especially Fendri and Sigrid, they have dropped their wing feathers in their molt. So it looks like when they flap their wings, they've only got half a wing. Oh, crazy. Yes, Miss Bridget. Just look at him. Oh, Mr. Frig. Look at you. So I wanted to do a post today on, there's actually quite a few posts I'm going to be loading up soon. Ahead of time, I'm sorry if you hear drongos in the background. I have a stalking pervert across the road from me. Across my letterbox, basically. Who's always surveilling me and thinks I want to hear him. Yeah, you can hear him all fucking ready. Excuse my French. But this post, so apologies for that ahead of time. We got shells and oats. Let's give these lasses their shells and oats. I wanted to do a post on cost. And one of the big things about owning ducks or chickens is cost. Now, I will do a bit of a rave at some point. Not because of the cost and not at my birds, but some things that I guess are perpetuated. I'll just put this down for a sec. Things that are no shells. No. Bella, did you get it? There's things that are perpetrated, I guess, within... Boys, you better not be fighting. Frig. Mr. Frig. Manners, that is your brother. Yes, you. Frig. Good boy. No, Frig. Don't make me go over there. Alright, I'm going over there. Just leave this open, I'll come back. Give this to the boys. Side note. Ducks have a pecking order. There's a pecking order among the girls. There's a pecking order among the boys. And the thing is, that is not the same all the time. It changes with the seasons. So, you know, as you could imagine, I'm top duck. No, I'm top duck. I'm top hen. No, I'm top hen. And then, you know, on and on it goes. Fendri! See! Come on, puppy. I'll put it over here. Oh. Here goes sweetheart. Mr. Fawn. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Mr. Frig, you being a cheeky little shit today. Yeah. Not to me, to your siblings. But we'll go back over where the girls are. Fendrid! They really don't like the camera. It's so funny. Oh. So I'll let these guys have some oats and shells, eggshells. And we'll go back over here where the 4 girls are being isolated and have a bit of a chat. Now, I don't want to see any more feather pulling, Mr. Frig. Me? I'll throw you in the pool. So let's get back to where we were. And I will... Hello, puppy. Hello. So let's have a chat about cost. So let's start off with one of the things that really is irritating, needs to be called out. people who love ducks, and why wouldn't you? They're just so darn cute. They're beautiful creatures, very social, cuddly. They are doggies with feathers, definitely. However, not everyone can have them. Cost is a big thing. I'm by no means rich. I'm disabled. I struggle. I have no savings. And let's just pull this up so I can be heard. So, you know, I really struggle. I live pretty much paycheck to paycheck. However, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't go out. I'm a nerd. I'm also paying off a student loan, a second one. I've finished paying off my first one to do my horts, and I'm doing the applied animal sciences, so, you know, and ornithology, so I've got to pay that as well. Might as well just sit on my ass, it'll be easier. And I don't care, it's just dirt. These are my chore pants. I like to have specific pants. Bridget thinks she's missing out. I like to have the same type of pants for the chore that I do every day, which is gardening and, you know, attending to my animals, cleaning out runs and things like that. So I've actually got 8 pairs of these. And anyway, side note. So, cost. Okay. So the thing is, I don't have all these other expenses people usually have. I don't have a car. I don't obviously drive. Something I am going to correct. But that's a major expense I don't have to think about right now. I also don't subscribe to shit like Netflix. I don't do cell phones. I don't do smart shit. I'm pretty much salt of the earth person. I don't like modernity to a point, you know, like convenience is great, but I'm very aware of cost benefit. And when I talk about cost, I don't mean financial, I mean soul cost. I think, you know, every action you do in life has a impact on your spirit, on your soul. And I have no discrimination against nature or earth or fear of it. Humans, yeah, I fear humans. Not like scaredy cat fear. The ugliness of humans when they go away from nature and they start to think they're superior to it, and that they have this self-entitled, my God, my meat, I do whatever I want with nature attitude. That it's ugly to me and repugnant. It's like, you know, it like magnets. It's the opposite of a magnet. It repulses me away without me even thinking. I just can't be near it. It just vibrates against the current of my soul that it naturally vibrates at. So we're talking about cost, I guess, and like something I've seen a lot of. Hello, honey, look at her feathers coming back. My little ginger. Wanna come over here and cuddles? So cost is a big thing. So one of the things I hear, so it's taken me a while to get into this. One of the things I hear a lot about is, especially on the internet, you know, all this influx of people coming from the city into the country and regional areas which are already struggling. And, you know, people could say I'm being a hypocrite. Well, I'm a bit different to the average that's doing this, in that I have, before I started doing my horticulture journey, and, you know, I studied for 4 years to do my horts. You know, I did finish, like my final year, I did try and go through Fed Uni, Ballarat. I just couldn't handle the cultural Marxist communist bullshit. You know, to be frank. I put up with 6 months of it, and at least I got my erecting timber structures under my belt, and plant identification with actual in contact support. But I couldn't do anymore. Like, it was crushing me. I seriously think I've only just recovered from that whole ordeal of being around these people. They just, even though they claim to be pro-nature and environmentally whatever, they're fucking opposite. It's all a facade, and an opportunity to score virtue signalling points. And they're so anti-white that it's just ridiculous. Even the supposed white people, they're so anti-white. It's just crazy. Anyway, so, I think truly I've only just started to recover from that. And we're looking at 8 months later, 9 months later. But I finished all my 4-year study of Hort because I did it through a private online college as well. And I paid that off finally last year before I started to go, oh shit, I need to do applied animal sciences, because the state of veterinary and animal care for avian and equine is bullshit also, especially in the country. It's pretty much almost non-existent. It's crazy. We need birds. No birds equals no life. They are the most important animal within the animal kingdom is actually birds. Without them, there's no plant life. You can argue that plant life is needed for the birds, like the chicken and the egg sort of thing, but for it to continue going and thriving and, evolving even more, though I'm not really someone who holds the evolution theory up like a lot of people do, but there's aspects of evolution I do agree with from a scientific point of view, but also from a scientific point of view, Darwinism to me is bunk. Speaking as a scientist. So I did all that, and then anyway, back to cost. People coming out. So anyway, I was saying, going into the studies, because obviously I had, thank you, Miss Freya, for the poop. I had already committed financially and time-wise to studying horticulture. And I did that after finishing permaculture studies. So I'm also a permaculturalist. And I got introduced to permaculture through doing biomimicry through university in Caltech, basically. And, Oregon State. So I got introduced to permaculture through Oregon State after doing a course on biomimicry, which is a really interesting field. Is pretty much any problems we have in the world is, well, how does nature do it? As, of course, as you could probably gather, I am nature-based. I think everything we need and need to know is found within nature. We have problems when we go away from that, or think that we're better than, and that we can change it or play Frankenstein with it. So anyway, we are literally, with the biomimicry, permaculture, horticulture, we're looking at 8 years. I started off my life as an athlete with horses. I was trained for 4 years by a coach in equestrian. I continued doing different sports, and I ended up competing in fitness and bodybuilding and doing fitness competitions. So you train like a bodybuilder, but you also have to perform like a gymnast. Really hard on the body. I ended up going into bikini after that. But they keep changing it. It's, got its issues as well, that whole sporting industry. It's no longer about the sport. It's basically a freak show. So I think it's great to a point for your personal self, but as a sport, it's a freak show now, and it's sort of lost its roots and its origins of, Vince Gironda, the chap in the 40s that showed like the physique of a Greek warrior or a god, It's gone way far from that. There's no longer balance and symmetry. It's just about mass wherever you can get, female or male. And the feminine aspect has been lost in the strength. before when I was competing, side note, I know, tangents. But I'll put tangents on the heading of this post too, because we're going in many tangents. But I remember when, you know, I was competing, there was still the feminine in strength. But when you start taking out the feminine in strength, there's just women trying to be men. It loses its, instead of women being strong. There's a difference. And, you know, I have no problems with being a woman. I love being a woman. I'm not a ditz like a lot of women are sort of brought up to believe they should be, non-thinking ditz. And a lot of that's to do with religion. So in the West, it's the Christ indoctrination of being meek, mild, and, you know, which often manifests into being duplicitous, I can't talk, duplicitous, and backstabbing other women and seeing all other women as competition because of that virus that's been implanted so early on. When you are yourself and you do things on your own, and everything else outside of you is just bonus, you don't have that need for survival. You do shit yourself. I am my father's daughter, for Christ's sakes. So anyway, so, you know, I already have a lot of, as you can tell, a lot of background in history, with an interest in regional country and the animals. You know, regional country should be synonymous with a diversity of animals that aren't allowed to live in the city because of council and all that sort of bullshit. So, you know, I've always had an interest at where the animals go, where the roosters go, the moon. You don't like the sound of birds and you're living in country Victoria? Fuck off and go back to the city. What are you doing here? Fuck off, we don't need you. So I've come out to the city, but, you know, oh, look at Loki. Oh, he's beautiful, my beautiful raven. Oh, he's his dad. So, you know, I've come out here with what can I offer and what can I do for the natural environment, critters, and also those that want to continue to be able to hear ducks, roosters, birds. You know, I didn't come out here because I turned the city into a shithole by consuming. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff that people take for granted in the city is at the expense of those of us who live in, now me included now because I live in the country, that it comes at the expense of people that live in the country. You know, they're even trying to destroy agricultural land and put up fucking towers and this and that to power the grid of the city. It's like turning the country into a wasteland. And, you know, and then there's all the political bullshit, the virtue signalling. It's like, it's easy to parade a virtue signal, but what does it actually mean, you know? Underneath all that, if you don't feel the effects of it, it's usually at the expense of someone else away from you that you don't see. So unfortunately, we have a lot of people now coming out from the city, coming into the country. We already have bad infrastructure. We also have a lack of housing. We also have financial disadvantage. Those in the country have been struggling for so long. There are those in the country who have made a lot of money by exploiting others. But overall, we're already struggling. So you bring all these people out from the city because they're trying to get out of the shit they've created. And they come into the country and then they start turning the country into the same shit that they left. Fuck off, we don't need you. So this was going to be about cost. It is about cost. Promise. So 19 minutes in. So one of the things that I hear and see the attitude summed up in a sentence is, I'm going to go to the country or regional. I'm going to grow my own meat. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And do it myself because we can't get it here in the city and we're getting overcharged. Hey! What is that? You're checking up on your girl. You freak. The social dynamics within a flock is so cute, so fun and interesting. You could just watch them all day. So, and oh, that is the most irritating fucking thing. Okay, how much is a carton of eggs? All right, one of the things that people aren't usually familiar with is you are paying way too little for things. Like what things actually cost to a being. Okay, you're getting very cheap in the city, especially, or even out in the country. It's not a true reflection of what the cost is. So on average, and what I'll do is I'll put in the description of this a little bit of a breakdown on cost. So on average, it costs me $180 every 2 weeks just for hay, sawdust, and feed. That is it. Things like runs, medical care, you are going to come into issues. It's no different to a car. It can become a money pit. Add to it that we have a shortage of avian and equine vets, which is what has driven me to get into and start the applied animal sciences journey. I already did applied human sciences in my youth, so to me I see humans as another animal, so I'm just transferring a lot of things I already know, but it's awesome to see the similarities between a bird and a human being. In a lot of ways, we're not really that different at all, aren't we, Freya, my beautiful girl? So that's $320 a month Australian. To compare that to my rent, I pay in that same over 4 weeks, not quite a month. So $320 every 4 weeks just for food, hay, and straw for their bedding. You cannot have them walking around in their filth. You can't. They get issues with their feet, etc. No, if you can't afford to keep them like that, then don't have them. Enjoy someone else's. As someone who owns ducks, thank you, Freya. Sorry, guys, it is what it is. That is literally liquid dirt. It's amazing. There's zero withholding. Chicken manure, you have to withhold it. This, literally something's grown out of that next week. It's just crazy stuff there, the duck poo. It's liquid dirt, basically. And it doesn't stink like... It doesn't even stink like chicken shit. It definitely doesn't still stink like a carnivore. The only time it gets whiffy is when the female ducks are brooding. Ooh, hell have no fury than the broody poop. Oh, the broody poop's something else. Digression. But anyway, so to compare that to, so if I like $320 every 4 weeks just for the feed and for the hay and sawdust of my girls and boys, and add another $20 in there for brewer's yeast or nutritional yeast for vitamin B. So $400 every 4 weeks, $100 a week. If I compare that to my rent, and I'm on the low rent area, so I'm in a socially down area, if you like. I'm paying, what am I paying? $5. So in that same period of 4 weeks, I'm paying $5.20 in rent. So I'm almost paying 2/3 of my rent in value just to feed and keep my birds warm and walking on clean surfaces. How much is a carton of eggs? So if I'm spending $100 a week on my birds, and say I get, I don't eat eggs. I don't really give a shit about the eggs or not. It's half the time my girls eat their own eggs because they need to. If they don't eat the eggs, I end up boiling the eggs, giving the eggs to my ravens that you can hear in the background. And the shells I give back to the birds so the girls can have their shells for their calcium. So people that want the eggs though, I have 2, 4, 6 girls. On in a good run, I might have 2 eggs a day. You know, if I cross out the girls eating their own eggs if they need to eat them, or the hidden eggs. I like to drop eggs in inconvenient places when they're free ranging, which they need to do. Ducks cannot just be in a pen like this. These girls are in a pen because Freya, as you know, she's had a long journey with her feathers, being the only girl for a while there, and her feathers paid the price, and she's getting there though. Look at her feathers. But Bumblefoot as well, which has led, I'll do a separate post on that. So Bumblefoot is something I've got on top of. It will lead to other problems, and this is stuff that I got from when I got the girls. It was pre-existing issues. It's one of those areas you don't know unless you're looking at under your duck's feet. Most people that get ducks that don't already have them, or chickens, they're unaware of this sort of thing. So, you know, what do you do? Anyway, so we are where we are. So even if you were to pay $20 for a carton of eggs, spending $100 a week just to keep your birds warm and fed. Yeah, can you see the thing with the cost here? And I'm, by any stretch of the imagination, I don't buy from a chain store. I buy from a local farmer who is nice enough to deliver, because I spend over $150 every couple of weeks. So he delivers it for free. Otherwise, it's an extra $10 each time to deliver. So I also think it's important to support your local farmers and getting things from them, and wiping out that big chain store corporations and companies, even like Pet Stock in Australia. They're shit. They just care about cats and dogs, and anyway. So, you know, what, you pay $20 for a carton of eggs, doesn't even come close to the $100 a week just to keep the birds healthy and fed. Doesn't now. And that's not including veterinary costs, it's not including the cost of runs. We have weather, and the weather will beat down any great structure. You know, it doesn't matter where you look. Frig, don't pull your brother's feathers. So, you know, it's quite often a structure will even come apart sometimes in heavy rains and wind and damage. And then it's not just the financial aspect, then you got to make the time to fucking put this shit together, which takes time. So cost is a major thing. Ducks look cute, they're beautiful. You see them popped up all over YouTube, and it kind of scares me sometimes to think, shit, you know, are these birds actually being looked after? Do they have other ducks in their life, you know, and do they get to free range? Are they getting the food they need? Are they getting the absolute basics of what they need? All the cuddles in the world still can't replace the adequate nutrition they need, and the appropriate housing and the social interaction they do need to be healthy and sane, by just having also other ducks in the flock. Here's that freak. He's looking at Loki there. Look how big he's got. So anyway, cost. All these idiots coming out from the city, from the shit that they've created, whether it be their compliance, ignorance, or you know, participation in buying shit on the cheap without any, you know, thought to the actual cost of things, at the expense of those of us who live in the country, or from, you know, the resources in the country. Don't fucking come to the country or regional. We don't want you. If you're going to come to the country or regional and you're in the city, at least study something that is going to benefit the regional country areas. How can you support the animals? How can you support the people? How can you preserve much of the landscapes that are under threat and under attack from, you know, energy giants and all sorts? We need help. We don't need people running out away from the shit they've created to exacerbate the problem, whether it be housing or, you know, areas to live, even just for the animals. I mean, poor roosters have the worst lot, you know, with all this crap.